Tom, it's awesome to have you here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Wow, our work overlaps a bit. I appreciate the retweets here and there around the work around what's so-called Russia collusion, which is increasingly looking like maybe a different sort of collusion than we thought. Can you tell me a little bit about your most recent investigations, what you're doing, and what's captivating your interest right now?
Well, what's concerning is that Congress has kind of literally shut down the investigations into the real corruption that you've been, at the Epoch Times, been talking about and detailing from the prior Congress. That's not happening anymore. And so Judicial Watch's Freedom of Information Act lawsuits about the activities of these agencies, the FBI, DOJ, the NSA on maskings, things like that, they're even more essential than ever. So I'm hopeful we start getting documents released. I think the president needs to intervene directly to declassify a lot of this material. But the crisis continues, and there hasn't been accountability.
So I noticed most recently you've been suing to get the coup documents, so to speak. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
You have discussions reported, when was it, September of last year?
Something
initially
in there. Yeah.
About the discussions at the Justice Department and the FBI to wear wire on the president to try to, in my view, lawlessly invoke the 25th Amendment to remove him. And there's been no investigation. Not one congressional hearing on it. And its little old Judicial Watch has had to come in and sue for the records.
And you've been very successful in some of these types of initiatives.
But look,
but it shouldn't be needed. That's what you're saying.
It shouldn't be needed. And we're happy to do the work, but really it's outrageous that we have to do it.
I wholeheartedly agree. At the same time, someone needs to do it, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's a great country we have because, we can have a nonprofit organization go into court and, force the government to account for these records that we're asking for.
Is there anything you're getting close, you feel like you've made progress, you're close to getting a new batch of information, or is it all out?
There's always something in our pocket.
Yeah.
So you can expect more disclosures, not only on the Clinton email issue, but on this improper targeting of President Trump and what was behind it.
Right. Break down the improper targeting for me, please.
Well, it's often too limited in the discussions, but it was pretty broad. You had the use of the dossier, you had the placement of informants on his campaign. You had the agencies taking up his phone records and people associated with him, their phone records. You had the various FISA warrants. You had then the Mueller special counsel operation, all the kind of abusive targeting by the Mueller operation, where, for instance, they went and behind closed doors or in my view, in a proper way, took records from the inaugural committee. Just completely a lawless approach to trying to investigate President Trump. All of that's got to be part of the discussion. And then, of course, you've had Hillary and Clinton interacting and directing all of this through her cutouts. So you had the Clinton law firms meeting with the FBI, the dossier being misused by them, a product of the Clinton and the DNC. And then you have the intersection of all of that with the Democrats on the Hill, who are abusing their powers right now and in the past to both leak and now improperly target President Trump.
As far as I can tell, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there really is no evidence. There's nothing to substantiate any of this activity or justify any of this activity.
Well, in terms of Russia collusion, everyone here in Washington, D.C. knows there's been no Russia collusion, and they've known it for at least a year. And this Mueller operation that has been allowed to continue, despite its core reason for being disproven, it shows it's a zombie investigation and that the Democrats running it is partisan. I don't say it because I don't like Democrats. It's just a fact. It's largely Democrats. Number two individual at the Mueller operation is a partisan for Hillary Clinton and an anti-Trumper. I mean, we have that from the documents we've uncovered.
Right.
So it's hard to tell where the Hillary Clinton campaign ended and the DOJ began, and frankly, the Mueller operation begins. You look at the Cohen hearings. You had Hillary Clinton's lawyer, or close associate,
right,
Lanny Davis,
Right.
providing free legal advice to Michael Cohen as they trample all over President Trump's rights.
Have you been noticing this, maybe it's not even so subtle anymore, but the shift in the narrative around the Russia collusion, around the Mueller investigation, maybe the last week and a half? I've been seeing a lot more around, what if the Mueller investigation doesn't prove...
Well, they already know that
Yeah.
the Mueller investigation is going to prove Russia collusion. So they've moved, as you point out. Well, there's no Russia collusion, but we still want to impeach him. We don't know what about. So let's investigate his businesses, because we don't like President Trump. So therefore, his businesses must have been engaged in some suspicious conduct. I mean, the targeting of President Trump for political reasons, that's life. But we got to make sure that the tools of government, whether it be congressional subpoenas or the investigative powers of the DOJ and FBI, are not abused for political purposes.
We wouldn't want this. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. We wouldn't want this sort of thing for anyone. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you can come out and say, "Oh, President Trump was doing business in Russia. I don't like it." Okay, well, make your arguments why you don't like it, but it's not an excuse to just take up his tax records for the last 10 years, which is what they plan to do. And this is just when you think there couldn't be more abuse of power, they're thinking of new ways to kind of break the rules.
Tom Fitton, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.